Is it possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe without ever pressing left? This is what we'll be attempting today. The rules are simple. Pressing left is not allowed, and if you do, I will feed you to this tiger. And trust me, you don't want to mess with it. As per usual, I'll focus on the levels and not the world map left presses. Anyways, just make sure to subscribe and to ring the notification bell, and let's just jump into it. World 1-1 is a pretty easy level. Just grab a P acorn to be able to glide and keep moving right until you grab the flagpole. 1-2 takes place underground and features a lot of piranha plants. You'll want to move slowly as you cannot press left to avoid them. If you end up moving too far to the right, well, just make sure to wall jump to move back left and everything will be good. 1-Tower is the first vertical level of this challenge, and as you have to move up the tower, there's going to be lots of moving left involved. You'll need to do a bunch of wall jumps, you'll need to use the moving cogs and gears, and you'll even need to slide on those slopes if you expect to make it to the top. It is a pretty fun level that will teach you all the mechanics needed to move left without actually pressing left. 1-3 is easy, and by sliding on the slopes, you can even get a Yoshi, which is kinda fun. 1-4 features no floor, so falling down means you die. Get ready to do some ground pounds to stop your momentum as you hop from one mushroom to the next. 1-5 could have been a very difficult stage, as it features a billion piranha plants, but I did have a fire flower power-up, so this stage was a total joke. 1-Castle is also pretty easy, as it gives you another acorn suit, allowing you to glide to the end. The boss is also not too bad, as you can wall jump to move left if needed. World 2-1 is an easy level that doesn't feature anything that is worth talking about. In 2-2, move slowly to avoid touching the evil pokies and everything will be good. 2-3 is a dark level, so watch your step, as you don't want to fall down a bottomless pit. 2-Tower is a pretty difficult level, as you'll need to do a lot of wall jumps and they're often time sensitive, as you have to spin this screw to make the platforms move and then quickly make your way up. You'll also need to wall jump and keep hopping to maintain your momentum, which is easier said than done. Thankfully, after beating this difficult stage, you'll get to 2-4, which is easy as long as you avoid the fishy boopkins on the way. 2-5 is also fairly easy, especially if you still have your acorn suit. 2-6 features a very annoying Lakitu, but once this dude is out of your way, you don't have to worry about anything. 2-Castle ain't too bad, but it does feature some moving platforms that can actually crush you if you're not being careful. So, well, be careful. World 3-1 is a pretty easy level, and if you fall down in the water down below, well, you can just ride a wave to get back up, so no worries. Hey, 3-2 is our first underwater level. That means we cannot move left by using wall jumps, so make sure not to swim too far to the right and everything will be okay. 3-Tower starts off with an underwater section, so you have to make sure to stay to the left as much as you can. Eventually, you'll reach a part where you have to move left. But that's actually where the underwater section ends, so you can just use a wall jump. Nice. There's gonna be a couple more tricky parts where you have to use wall jumps, but they're all possible to beat. 3-Ghost House wants you to move left quite a lot, but there's always a wall that will allow you to do so, and that's pretty cool. 3-3 is quite easy, just hop on Yoshi and move to the end. 3-4 is also pretty easy, but I have to admit that 3-5 kind of scared me with this giant dragon following you at all times. I managed to avoid it and survive though. 3-Castle is a very easy one, and the underwater section it features never requires you to move left. World 4-1 starts off by giving you an acorn, making it quite easy to beat. 4-2 contains a bunch of very annoying penguins, and not being able to move left makes this level harder than it should be. 4-Tower features a bunch of icicles, ready to fall on your head at all times. Just do a bunch of wall jumps to avoid them and get to the top. 4-3 contains spinning ice platforms, and it's actually quite fun to slide on them. 4-4 contains a bunch of bullet bills that can actually be used to bounce to the end of the stage. In 4-5, well, just run as fast as you can to the right, and that way you'll avoid all of the obstacles that can hurt you. 4-Ghost House will force you to do a couple of wall jumps to move left, but to be honest, it's not a very difficult stage. 4-Castle contains a bunch of thwomps ready to crush you, so you'll have to time your jumps and move only when everything is safe. It's not too bad though, don't worry. World 5-Airship is next, and this stage is actually very easy. It is a very slow auto-scrolling level, so just be patient and you'll eventually reach the boss, which is quite tricky. You see, this boss fight takes place underwater, meaning we cannot move left, and the key to win is to have Junior push you left, so you can then move a little bit to the right and guide the Torpedo Teds into his Koopa Clown car. It is a bit tricky to pull off, but if you're being careful, well, you'll hit him 3 times and we'll beat the stage. 5-1 is a very easy level. Just bounce on the giant enemies and everything will be good. 5-2 is also easy, especially if you have an Acorn suit. 5-3 marks the return of the most annoying enemy ever, Bramballs. But to be fair, they're not too difficult to avoid this time, so it's all good. 5-Tower is a very difficult stage, because you need to move on this giant snake block platform, and sadly for us, this snake block actually moves left quite a lot. You'll have to get the block to push you left, and wall jumps will be a must if you intend to clear this stage. Beating the first part is super tricky, but the second half is even more difficult. You actually have to memorize the snake block pattern to know when to jump and when to stay put. It took me a while to perfect this stage, and I had to keep hopping to keep the momentum going near the end, but I eventually reached Boom Boom and defeated the Mad Lad. 5-Ghost House is thankfully way easier, but this one is kind of a maze, so don't get lost. 5-4 is kind of annoying, as falling down in the poisoned water is quite easy. Be careful, 5-5 takes place underwater, and the first part is not too difficult. But soon, you'll reach this vertical part where we have to swim to the top. And with those falling rocks in the way, well, eventually you'll be forced to push left, which is very cringy and very illegal. But thankfully, 5-4 and 5-5 are located on a split path on the world map, so we can just move to 5-6 as we already beat 5-4. So yeah, cool. Speaking of 5-6, well, this stage is super easy. And so is 5-7, so you know, beating those two will take no time. 5-Castle features those lava waves, which are meant to be scary, threatening, super dangerous. But in fact, they're not. This level is a total joke. World 6-1 features a couple of scary jumps on those platforms that keep shrinking and expanding. The timing to jump on those is quite tricky, but it's possible nonetheless. 6-2 contains this annoying fish that wants to eat you, and he's quite the pain in the butt. Just try your best to avoid him and get to the end. 6-Tower is a very tricky level that contains those spiky spinning circle enemies, and in order to get to the top, you'll have to do a bunch of wall jumps, and some of these are just insanely difficult. Heck, I even thought I was stuck in the level at one point over there, but thankfully I wasn't, as you can see. But you see the type of stunts this stage wants you to pull off? Insanely difficult. 6-3 is a vertical level, but it's quite wide, so we can actually move left with the help of well-timed wall jumps. 6-4 will ask you to do even more wall jumps, but this time in the dark. Yay! 6-5 is an easy level that contains a bunch of chains to swing onto, so no worries. Get ready to do even more wall jumps in 6-Tower number 2, but at this point, we're pretty much used to be doing that all the time. The boss is easy, as you can ground pound those slopes to move back left super fast. 6-7 is not too difficult, and 6-Castle is also fairly easy. The boss is not too tricky, containing lots of platforms that can bring you back left. World 7-1 takes place on a moving cloud platform, and you'd think this one would be difficult, But no, as long as you're moving slowly, everything will be good. 7-2 is also okay, despite a few difficult parts with platforms that shrink near the end. 7-3 contains one section that is tricky, as it requires you to bounce on bullet bills, but the rest is easy. 7-Tower is a very difficult level containing too many moving platforms and hazards. You'll need to keep your acorn suit for as long as you can if you intend to make it to the top, but don't worry if you lose it, as I did and still managed to get to the top anyways. The fight against Kamek is kinda tricky, but there are blocks to help you move left when needed. 7-Ghost House is a very tricky stage, as you have to find the correct doors and avoid a bunch of dangerous blocks, but the real problem comes from this part there. In order to proceed in this stage, you have to go down this staircase by moving left, and there's just no way to do so. You cannot slide on a staircase even doing ground pounds, and doing wall jumps proved to be kind of useless as you always land on the platform up there. That is, until I managed to do this pixel perfect wall jump that allowed me to land down there. Oh my gosh, that was so pro! And then I did it again while wearing an acorn suit to get to the secret exit up there, and then I reached 7-Castle. And thankfully, this one was way easier and I cleared it quite fast. 7-Airship was also pretty easy, but the fight against Junior is kind of tricky as you have to wait for him to attack you to then jump on top of his head. Whirl 8-1 is super easy as long as you avoid the boulders falling from the sky. 8-2 is also easy, just ride the raft to the end. 8-3 is okay, as long as you spin the screws to move the platforms that are hiding in the lava. 8-Tower on the other hand is kind of tricky. You need to move up this tower by standing on this platform, but as soon as a bum or a yucky coin falls onto it, well, the platform stops moving. You'll have to be a bit lucky, but it is possible to get to the top. Welcome to 8-Bowser, the final stop of the day, and this level is super annoying, especially with Junior trying to destroy you. Junior, what are you doing? The first fight against Bowser is actually very easy, but once you reach the second phase, things go bad. You see, in order to defeat Bowser, you have to hop inside the Koopa Clown car and then do a ground pound on Bowser's head. That's fine, but if you end up on the right side of Bowser, which you probably will, well, you're pretty much screwed. If this were the Wii U version, I'd be using boost blocks to wall jump and move back left, but I'm playing the deluxe version on the Switch, so these blocks no longer exist. Is this the end of the quest? Well, no. One thing this version has is the ability to choose your character, and you can even play as Nabbit. And with Nabbit, well, you can't actually get hurt by anything, so Bowser won't hurt you, he's just gonna push you back left. Oh, thank you, Bowser. Let me repay this debt by killing you. Yes! This allows us to defeat him and beat the stage. Is this cheap? Well, a little bit, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't want to be fed to the tiger after all. Yes, it is possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe without pushing left. There were a couple difficult parts in the quest, but it wasn't too bad. Thanks a lot for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. Tap the cards on screen to watch even more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!